You're welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily, and this is going to be a difficult conversation, but it has to be had. A little over 12 days ago, we all woke up to a very unfortunate news, and we were being hopeful, that we'll get some good news. Long story short, it wasn't what we were expecting. Our prayers, to some extent, in all things we give thanks to God, but sometimes you pray as you tell God that let your will be done, but in your mind, the kind of answer you want. And so sometimes when the will of God is done, it's a very difficult kind of acceptance, but we have to just let it be. And we're going to have a conversation about Christian Atsu. We've been joined in the studio by our very own Yahweh Jamie Tayao. Yeah. It's painful.
Yeah, it is. After that long wait, and to have this kind of ending.
Yes. At some point, you could tell our hopes, feigning, but we were just holding on. Let there be a miracle.
Particularly the morning where we spoke. We had a report from
the journalists.
No, not even the journalists. I'm talking about after the fact, and we had waiting, and then just before he was found, we actually had a report from his agent, and then he said he was there with his brother and his sister and so on and so forth, and bodies had been coming out, and they were hoping. They were still hoping, that he'll be found in a hospital somewhere and not in the run.
For me, at a point, I was just praying that even if the unfortunate has happened, let us find him.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people.
Not be found, though.
Exactly. A lot of people will not be found. And for me, that was going to be the most painful part, you get closure by seeing and accepting the final decision, and then that this is what has happened. We can give him a befitting burial, and then we move on. But if you do not find him, you don't know whether he ended up in a certain hospital. Could it be that something hit him, so he's lost his memory, he doesn't even know who he is again? There were too many things running through people's minds, and it could have easily happened.
So, I wanted to just give us a little bit of context. So one thing I noticed in all the reportage ever since he's been found is that people have been talking about his personality and his humanity.
Yes.
I just couldn't get away from that. As I watched, I kept thinking, wow. Yes, he was a prolific footballer, but we have hundreds and thousands of prolific footballers. People passed away in this earthquake, but he wasn't being celebrated so much for his prowess on the field, but he was being celebrated by the teams he played for his humanity. And his personality.
It brought my mind to one thing, the fact that he was doing all these things.
And he insisted on people not knowing.
Exactly.
Don't
he
go
was
tell
very
anybody.
Quiet about it. It wasn't for some kind of show off. So you can really tell. So I was like, oh wow, he was doing all these.
He did this, and he did that, and he did this.
Get it? And I think that is the true mark, of God's work. Doing it and not expecting any kind of praises and publicity, carry cameras and go do it. I've brought the jerseys and the boots. This is me. Sharing is all over social media.
But you know what the Bible says, right? You've received your thanks already if people praise you on earth and thank you on earth. You've already received your right hand shouldn't know what your left hand is doing.
But
talk to us about him as a footballer.
As a footballer, well, you talk to his teammates, you talk to his coaches, you talk to the administrators that saw him play, that worked with him, that saw him from afar. They will always mention one name and one name only, Lionel Messi. And that was the name, and that was how Sule Muntari introduced him to Otunfo Osei-Tutu II when Ghana was about to play against Egypt in that qualifier, that World Cup qualifier. And so his footballing abilities, it was akin to Messi. And because he's left-footed, he's diminutive in size, and he's just fantastic. Technically, he was gifted. He had everything in the locker, as they say. Speed, close control, that vision, and that touch, that natural feel for the ball. He just had it. That natural feel for the sport. He had it, and that was him as a footballer. And yeah, he was that good. He was that good. I remember I interviewed Jerry Akamenko, who played with him at the 2013 AFCON, and he said he was so good. To him, unfortunately, he believes that he didn't really live up to expectation, his full potential. And that was how good he was. And I honestly believe in that when he burst on the scene, Christian Atsu was that good. That he really was that good. But things don't always go the way you plan it. Life isn't linear. Football careers aren't linear. You have ups and downs. But
because
at the end of the day,
injuries as well, didn't he?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, he put together a solid career. If you spend as many as 7 seasons in the English Premier League.
That's a long time.
That's beyond solid. That's beyond solid. And you play for Malaga, you go play in the Dutch Eredivisie for Vitesse Arnhem, and you go to Saudi Arabia, you come back to Turkey, you are getting some game time here and there. He pieced together a solid career, and there's nothing you can.
He didn't play for ordinary teams. I mean, he played for Everton.
Porto,
he played for
Everton, AFC Bournemouth, Chelsea, Newcastle. Solid teams. So for me, yes, we expected a Lionel Messi kind of career for him based on his talent, and he didn't quite get to that point. But at the end of the day, he pieced together a brilliant career. Look, if you end up on the books of Chelsea, though he was sent out on loan, you go play for Malaga, you go play for Vitesse Arnhem, AFC Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton, and you played in the English Premier League for 6 years, and you spent 1 year in Netherlands, you spent 1 year in Spain. Look, you pieced together a beyond solid career, and yes, you have to celebrate that. You have to celebrate that, and like you said, beyond his football, it was the philanthropic things he did that people are talking about, the humanitarian aspect of his life. And in a 2019 interview with The Guardian, he stated that he's very lucky to be where he is, and that he feels that he should only give back. Because growing up, he didn't have anything, and now he has too much. And so it is only right for him to give back. And mind you, this is a guy who wasn't the highest paid. No. He was far from being the highest paid player on any of the teams that he played. And this guy always found time, the resources to give back. For football boots and football jerseys, those were nothing. He just kept giving them away consistently. Sule Muntari praised him for it. Several people praised him for it. And on top of that, he helped fund the construction of a school block for 300 children.
The prisoners.
Yes, at Senyabreku. Then the prisoners bit too. So you had all these things that he was engaged in. He was doing.
You know, and sometimes when things like this happen, you listen to the less privileged, in society, what they say about the person. You know, I mean, when you do theater, they tell you that a person's character is determined by what he says about other people, what he says about himself, what he does, and what other people say about him. And I think that is what has defined, who Christian Atsu is. And the fact that you go to his community, I mean, oftentimes you go back to such communities and you hear people talk about, he doesn't even come here, we don't even see him. I mean,
Apenkwa, he had some, in his upbringing, he spent some time here at Apenkwa. We went over to the Apenkwa AstroTurf, and some of the guys stated that once he's in town, he comes around, they play, buys food and all, and gives them jerseys, football boots and all that stuff. And sometimes he invites them to his house.
And even give them money.
And once they are leaving, he said in code, with 300 video, or 300 video, those kind of things. He used to do it on a regular basis, and so
angels don't live long on earth,
So,
and
it is sad.
These are some of the things that make people question God. That a lot of life dependent on this one person. Why would you take him away from
Well, you know what
us?
I heard somebody say one time? If you like nice things, you think God doesn't like nice things.
Is he going to play football in heaven?
It's not about the
No,
football.
he needs his company.
It's about the nice things.
But we needed him
He was
more
a great
here.
guy.
You have
Simple and short. He was a
former
great guy.
Newcastle United head coach Rafael Benitez.
Yeah.
Talk so glowingly
Exactly,
about him.
yes.
And Rafael Benitez is as stiff as they come.
Yeah.
He doesn't have, good. I wouldn't say good relations. He doesn't have the best of relationships with his players. He keeps it very professional. He doesn't
Not
try to
friendly.
be emotionally
Yeah.
connected to
Yeah.
his players. And you should have seen and heard him talk
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Sky Sports
Yeah.
about Christian Atsu.
Yeah.
I remember in his final days with Newcastle, he had a little bit of frustration with playing time. Steve Bruce didn't see him as part of the team, but he still kept his composure. He
Yeah.
still kept his good mannerisms about him. And Steve Bruce had nothing bad to say about him. Just that he believed that Atsu needed to move away from the team to get playing time for his own good.
Yeah.
And he decided, okay, I'll stay and play out my contract. Once my contract ends, then I'll leave as a free agent. And he did. Once his contract ended, he moved to Al Raib in Saudi Arabia. He played there for a season. Then he moved to Hatayspor in Turkey. And unfortunately,
it looks
he got
like
caught up in the earthquake.
we are seeing how huge of a person he
Yeah.
I don't know if he
Dr.
is or he
Lawrence Tete
was,
said it last night.
until his death. I mean, he's bigger than we saw him when he was alive.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the world is even shocked
Yeah.
as to how huge he
Yeah.
is.
No, but think about it. How many people, even contemporaries of his, would pass away and get that sort of global coverage?
That's what
that
I
he's
mean.
getting. And that's why I prefaced this conversation by saying that I don't think it's about his sporting ability.
Oh, no.
It's about
Far
his
from it.
humanity.
Far
Yes,
from it.
humanitarian work.
Especially in an era where you have a lot of social media, TikTok, Instagram. You see all these athletes partying.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
see them popping champagne. They will just be pouring all the champagne, wasting it away.
Yeah.
But you go check the price of the champagne, it's what, $5,000,
Yeah.
$10,000.
Yeah.
Actually did none of that
No,
stuff.
yeah.
He'll keep that $10,000 and come and give
some
it to
people.
charity.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
if you
looked
build
like
a
he
school
knew
for
where he
300
came
children,
from.
yes,
He
you
knew
see,
where he
that's the
came
thing,
from
yeah.
and where he was going. And so, in account, so Oyo 4,
Yeah.
and he saw himself as such
Yeah.
and lived accordingly and decided to give back to society
Yeah.
because of where he is coming from. There's a report on Atsu and
His arrival.
Yes, his
When-
arrival
when
and how
his
he
body
was
brought back.
received.
Yeah.
Very emotional. Let's take a look at that. We'll be right back.
We are singing this song because this is the last song we heard Atsu singing. So we are singing this song for him. Oh, Dada, Mia Ode, Mira, yes, Dada, Dinara, Mia Ode, Hapo Mareto, Jose, and Yonyam Keba. Dada, Mia Ode, Mira, yes, Dada, Dinara, Mia Ode, Hapo Mareto, Jose, and Yonyam Keba. Dada, Mia Ode, Mia Ode, yes, Dada, Dinara, Mia Ode, Hapo Mareto.
On behalf of the Trasan family of Adan, and on my own behalf as the elder of the family, I'm giving thanks to the government of Ghana for the work they've done to bring the mortal remains of our dear son into Ghana. Also thank every Ghanaian that has contributed since this thing happened to today. We are grateful. We are saying, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you.
Very much, Nene. Just from the Sporting Fraternity and the Ghana Football Association, I'll humbly invite the General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association, Prosper Harrison Addo.
So we heard the head of their family or the elder of the family who has given us some gratitude or to the entire
Your
Ghanaian.
Excellency,
Let's now move to
the
the
Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Bahomia, Honorable Ministers of State herein gathered, other dignitaries from government. I stand here on behalf of the football family, both in Ghana and the rest of the world, as we receive the remains of our dear brother and for many our son. From the football family, we want to send our condolences to the immediate family, the wife and children, and indeed the entire external family. It is with great sadness that we stand here today. There lies a son of Ghana who brought a lot of joy to our hearts. Outside the field of play, he contributed and touched a lot of lives with his good deeds. And in the past few days, we've heard so many that he did without broadcasting it. And many are sharing testimonies about how he supported and helped them. We are reminded of the joy he brought to us. And on that note, the football family would stand shoulder to shoulder with family and indeed the government of Ghana, so that together we'll give a befitting burial to our star who brought joy to our hearts.
The Vice President is now about to address the gathering. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
The Minister for Information, Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, the Deputy Minister of Sports, Ghana's ambassador to Turkey, and Turkey's ambassador to Ghana, the Executive Secretary General of the Ghana Football Association and members of the GFA, Nene Trasam, members of the Trasam family, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the security forces, members of the press, and Ghanaians who are listening all over. It is a very sad day that we are here to receive the mortal remains of our brother, our son, our husband, our uncle. The tragedy that occurred in Turkey about a week ago is one that was devastating. And we anxiously and nervously prayed that our brother Christian Atsu would be found alive. We hoped against hope. Every day that passed, we prayed and prayed. But alas, when he was found, he was no more. would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the President and the government to extend our sincere condolences to the Kwasam family. Atsu's twin sister and his brother accompanied him from Turkey home. I'd like to extend my condolences to all of them and their entire family for this deep loss. I'd also like to extend my condolences to the footballing fraternity. Atsu played for the Black Stars, and he was much loved, and we will sorely miss him. I'd like to extend my condolences to the Ghana Supporters Union and to all Ghanaians for this loss. It is a painful loss, a very painful one. But as the good Lord says in the good book, that from him we came and to him shall we return. We pray that the soul of Christian Atsu rests in perfect peace in the bosom of the Lord. Thank you very much. And I would like to say that the state will be fully involved with the family in providing him a befitting burial. Thank you very much for your attention.
The body, as you can see, of Christian Atsu is being moved by military men to the hearse. And I want to probably re-emphasize what the Vice President said. The Vice President gave assurance to the family, the Kwasam family of Atsu, and promised that the government will play its part to ensure that he receives befitting burial. So the burial party is now marching the body to the hearse, and the hearse has been opened now, where he would be put into that particular vehicle where he will be driven probably to a destination we are yet to ascertain. So you can see in your shot, this is the live coverage of the arrival of the body of Christian Atsu, so they are marching him.
Gentlemen, as you can see, the body of our dear brother Christian Atsu has been put into the heads and it will be straight to its destination.
This is very, very, very painful. I mean, for you to go probably, with first class and come back as cargo. This is terrible, on foreign soil and all that. It is painful, but in all, we give thanks to God. He alone can explain, because for this particular one, look, we just can't find answers. But who really was the man, Atsu? Let's take a look at this report.
The bad news Ghanaians dreaded broke on February 18. Ghana's Black Stars player, Christian Atsu, is no more. Just as the Harmattan gives way to the heavy clouds to shed tears of rain, the initial disbelief that greeted Atsu's passing has weathered away with reality. From the high and mighty to the most noble of men who watched him play, heard about his philanthropic deeds, or took in the gut-wrenching ordeal of the 12 days wait or news of his whereabouts, tribute have poured in.
In the earthquake in Turkey and Syria, with a moment of applause.
Este é o momento de homenagem a Cristiano Atsu, ali no centro do terreno, o capitão do Futebol Clube do Porto com a camisola 20 que Cristiano Atsu utilizou enquanto jogador do Rio Ave, o capitão do Rio Ave com a camisola 27 que Atsu utilizou enquanto jogador do Futebol Clube do Porto. Ele foi campeão nacional em 12-13 pela equipa do Futebol Clube do Porto. Na época anterior jogou emprestado pelo Porto no Rio Ave, então orientado por Carlos Brito.
But who was this man who touched the hearts and lives of so many people beyond football? Christian Atsu was born on January 10, 1992 in Adanfoa in Ghana's Greater Accra region and played organized lower league football with the West African Football Academy before joining Kasua-based Citi FC. His undeniable skills, that many labeled akin to Lionel Messi's, led to a fast rise through the ranks to the juvenile side of Portuguese giant FC Porto. A brief stint at Rio Ave led to a recall and to a more prominent role at FC Porto, where he won the 2012-2013 league title. His fine form led to a high-profile move to English Premier League side Chelsea FC, but was immediately loaned out to Dutch club Vitesse Arnhem. Further loan deals to Everton, AFC Bournemouth, and Spanish side Malaga ensued before a loan move to Newcastle United in the final year of his 5-year Chelsea deal, scoring 5 goals in 32 appearances and stringing together a consistent run of top performances to earn Newcastle United promotion to the Premier League from the Championship led to a 4-year permanent deal for Atsu. He played 2 seasons under Spanish coach Rafael Benitez at Newcastle, and he is noted to have described the 2-time La Liga winner as a father who is very good at man management. Reflecting on his time with Atsu, Benitez was equally effusive about his relationship with the Ghanaian winger.
I'm really sad to hear the news, but I was following the news for a while because they said that he was fine, he was in hospital, and after it was not true. And I was in contact with one ex-player, the Turkish player, and he was telling me that he was feeling that it would be bad news. So really, really sad because he was a nice, special person. He was a good professional, very good professional. And I don't talk about if he's a good player or not. He was a nice lad, good player, but especially really nice person. So a special person, and everybody always, you can see the pictures always with a smile, playing. So really sad for him and for everyone that has been involved in that because it's a tragic news. I tell you that I was in contact with him maybe last month. I had some messages and we were sharing messages, and I was really bad. It's very difficult for me to express in English, but I was feeling so bad, and I was trying to contact him. What I said, I was talking with an ex-player that he was playing in Turkey, and he told me that he was talking with a member of the staff, and he was feeling that he had bad news. And today, when they confirmed that, it was. But also, I don't want to forget the rest of the people because there are a lot of people has been in a really difficult time, and I think that we have to help them in a way. And then today we have to remember the Christian, but really sad, really sad.
Eddie Howe serves as the present head coach of the Tyneside club, but was the head trainer at Bournemouth when Atsu played for the Cherries on loan. Though their time was quite short, Atsu's down-to-earth attitude, nurtured mannerisms, and kind heart was enough to leave a lasting impression on Howe.
It's a real tragedy for Christian, his family. I woke up to the news as everyone else did, and I was truly devastated for him, and as I say, and his everyone that knew it. A lot of players in our dressing room that worked with him for a couple of years, and yeah, I've made reference to that, before the game, speaking to the players because I felt it was something we needed to do. We'll pay tribute to him today as a football club with a minute's silence, and our thoughts are with him.
A 1-year spell with Saudi side Al Raib followed at the conclusion of his 4-year stay with Newcastle. He signed a 1-year deal with Hatayspor and had his fair share of struggles with playing time, as he played just 3 times for the Turkish Super League side. His last appearance had him come off the bench and net the winning goal in a 1-0 win over Kasimpasa. Nana, this is Christian Atsu. He is our Messi. were the infamous words of Sule Muntari when introducing Atsu to the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II ahead of Ghana's crucial game against Egypt. The first of two 2014 FIFA World Cup playoff games was as big as they come, and Ghana ran out with a show-stopping 6-1 win over the Pharaohs, with Atsu scoring the final goal by smashing the ball into the bottom right corner with a trademark cut infield onto his left foot.
Christian Atsu se remet sur le pied gauche, la frappe d'Atsu et le sixième but du Ghana. Incroyable action de Christian Atsu. Et même s'il reste un match retour à jouer, on peut presque dire que cette génération égyptienne ne connaîtra jamais une phase finale de Coupe du Monde parce qu'il faudrait gagner 5-0 au match retour. C'est extrêmement peu.
Though his best run with the Black Stars came at the 2015 AFCON, where he was adjudged the best player at the tournament, former teammate Jerry Akamenkon recalls the 2013 AFCON held in South Africa as his fondest memory of Atsu in Black Stars colours. Atsu scored in a 3-0 win over Niger to qualify Ghana to the quarterfinals. And for ex-Black Stars defender Jerry Akamenkon, who was part of the 2013 team, Atsu's quality was evident throughout the competition that had Ghana finishing fourth.
During the game, I think 2013 AFCON in South Africa, I think he was one of the best in the team at that time. That's why I cannot pinpoint one game that I could say he was the best. But overall in the team, he was the player that made the difference for the Black Stars in that tournament. So if I could remember him, most of the games, I wouldn't even talk about the Ghana Egypt game. Kumasi qualification, he came in and then he scored. But then again, I would say I'll give everything to him in that tournament in 2013 in South Africa.
It's Ghana, come down the left. We've got a bit of space on the left here. It's come into the box. Jan, little chip across. It's going to be 2-0, is it? Flies in there, and Atsu puts Ghana 2-0 up on 22 minutes. Atsu the man.
That was a really cool cut.
As a father to 3 children, Atsu showed on countless occasions he was more than an athlete by helping people in need. In a 2019 interview with The Guardian, he shared what makes it a near compulsion to give back to society, saying, "I am very lucky and privileged to be in this position. I had nothing, and now I've got too much, so I have to give something back." After leading fundraising activities for the construction of a school block to house 300 children, Atsu regularly gifted football boots, jerseys, and money to community football clubs in Ghana.
This school will provide education to over 300 underprivileged and orphan children. So far, we've managed to raise enough to buy the land and start the build, but we need help to finish the project so that children get the education they deserve. Having grown up in Ghana, I know that education is vital to break the cycle of poverty. If you can help, then please use the links on this post to donate. Midasi.
I think when I was young, somebody inspired me. I also would like to inspire others. Very smart. We all have to feel like a family. We have to feel like one. We don't have to neglect them. We don't have to push them away from us because they really need us. We have to create jokes with them. We have to make them happy, which is very important thing. And that's what I'm trying to do for these kids. I want them to get a better education, to have a good future so that our environment or the community will be better.
Former national teammate Sule Muntari commended Atsu in a Facebook post in 2021 after the winger donated tons of football boots to charity. He wrote, "Christian Atsu still managed to think about others. All these soccer boots for charity? Wow. Father, please bless this gentleman." Atsu also served as a key ambassador for charity group Arms Around the Child. For the many lives he encountered, touched and impacted, Christian Atsu will be missed.
Like he was a playing colleague, let's say a friend. Yeah. He was actually a good person, very quiet, jovial, and a guy to be around. You understand me? Always positive, reserved, and he had it all. Like somebody who's around you, never get tired of. If you want to speak to him, he was always open. And then if he comes to jovial, those kind of things, he was always laughing, and then they were always bantering themselves, and he was quite a good guy, really quite a good guy.
It's a sad day for Ghana, Africa, and world football at large. As you are already aware, his contribution to football in Africa and then to a large extent in the whole of the world or in the world in general cannot be disputed. I mean, this is a young man who dedicated his whole life for football. Apart from that, his benevolent activities, his good and kindness to humanity and the society at large. I mean, the one that comes to mind was his contribution in making sure that inmates or prisoners are freed based on some monies or some fines imposed on them, which they've been incarcerated because of little fines and here and there. And so for me, I think that he's paid his dues. He's paid his dues for, if you've known his humble beginning to even his last minute on earth, you realize that this is a player who is so respectful. He's very, very respectful, and everywhere he's played, you hear of very good commendations and very good comments about him. I mean, all he's playing.
I know these rappers bluffing. I've been doing this shit since a youngin'. They hit up my DM, say I'm sick, need Robert Tussin. Like, what? Yeah, I've been doing things. Yeah, I've been counting change. Yeah, I've been trying to save. Investing every penny, need a Benz in my lane. Yeah, they can see the money coming quicker than a virgin. Cutting up these records every night like I'm a surgeon. Like, just keep on getting better, I just keep on learning how to deal with snakes like my name is Stephen Irwin. These days they wanna know how it happened. They see my name and they know that I'm snapping. Started from the hoops like I'm Jimmy Fallon, yeah. Late nights in the booth like I'm Jimmy Fallon, yeah. I remember when they used to talk, I always listened, but I don't hear nothing now. And old girls still be trying to tell me what I'm missing, but I don't hear nothing now.
Atsu.
Nah, I don't hear nothing, nah.
Into Joelinton, who's free. And scores. His first goal for Newcastle United.
Christian Atsu Chasam was a good man who cared for family, friends, and everybody who came in touch with him.
Saka player. Oh, there you. Yeah, the Chelsea player. Oh, yeah. Oh, Napon now. Oh, wait. Where the body? Body of the wolf.
Rest well, champ.
A great sportsman, a philanthropist, a husband, and a father. Christian Atsu is no more. Very, very difficult to accept, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, very difficult to accept. Very difficult to accept, and it's a heavy morning. It is a heavy morning, and you just can't help but ask, what if? What if?
Yeah.
What if? Like, the circumstances that led
There are so many
to,
what ifs.
There are so many what ifs.
Yeah.
There are so many what ifs.
So
the guy had bought a ticket to fly from Hataya to Istanbul.
So that is why I said that maybe he didn't even have to score the goal.
That's what Hataya sport manager said, Fatih Elek. That's what he said. That in the lead up to the game, he had already bought the plane ticket, and because he wasn't too happy with his playing time, and so if the coach had not brought him off the bench, and had he not scored the goal, he would have left, most likely left that evening and flown out to Istanbul. Now, the thing is, Turkey is a little over 3 times the size of Ghana. So it's more like you are in Wa, where he is, where he was. That's Hataya. It's on the eastern part of Turkey, close to the border with Syria. And Turkey is at the crossroads between Europe and Asia.
Yeah.
So he was on the eastern side, far off from the main cities, Ankara and Istanbul. So the plan was to move out from Hataya, or fly out from Hataya to Istanbul, then later from Istanbul to France. And later this morning, Sani Dara, former communications head for GFA, he also stated that Atsu confided in him that he also had plans to probably sign for a team in UAE, United Arab Emirates. So he had made moves to move away from Hatayspor, and he ended up scoring his first goal for Hatayspor, which turned out to be his last.
Some celebrations,
and in the midst of the celebration,
like, you know what? Let's cancel.
In the midst of the celebration, his teammates came together, and I'm dead sure the coach was elated. And in the state of elation, he promised him, things are going to change.
Yeah.
Things are going to turn around. And in that moment, Atsu decided not to board the flight or go and fly out from Hataya. And it led
for me,
to
I think
he
that
getting trapped.
This was meant to
earthquake.
happen. Because as human as we are, sometimes you make plans, you make decisions. It's very difficult to explain why the last minute change. Why did it? And we should also not forget that this was nobody's fault. This was a natural disaster.
And the thing is,
so it looks like it wasn't like maybe he was not well, he was taken to the hospital, maybe a hospital negligence, or he was in a vehicle, the driver was careless, so you can blame somebody.
It was a natural disaster. Natural disaster. And the thing is, you remember the Haiti earthquake, right?
Yeah.
That claimed so many lives. That was in the magnitude of the 6th range.
Yeah.
This earthquake was 7.8.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what people. I don't think people really understand what it means.
Yeah.
It was felt as far away as Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah, you see
that's
also,
in the south. Northwards,
also,
it was felt as far away as Denmark.
Yeah. Now, you see, also, the thing about earthquakes is that if it happens closer to the crust of the earth, right, is more damaging and devastating. If it happens deeper in the earth, it may be a huge earthquake, but the effect will not be felt as on the surface, will not be felt as much. You know, and so these things happen.
And where they are situated, where Hataya is situated, is situated close to the mountainous areas that borders Europe and Asia. And so earthquakes are pretty much common in that area. So earthquakes happen every time now and then. But to have this magnitude, and there were two, 7.4 and 7.8. And that happened on Monday. And on Wednesday, a 5.7 earthquake also hit Turkey. So it was that bad. And Turkey is an advanced country, far more advanced than Ghana. It's not, let's say, an America or a France, but it's quite advanced.
Of course.
And in the midst of the chaos, that's where you had that reportage that, oh, he's been found and he's been pulled out from the rubble. Because an earthquake of this magnitude, it can reduce a first-class country to a third-world country.
Yes.
Easily.
Because
your
hospital is damaged, telecom,
road networks have been cut off.
Exactly.
Telecommunications is
down. So there was utter chaos everywhere. And in the midst of that chaos, that's when we had the reportage and things weren't too clear. And later, once things got clarified a bit, because aid had been flown in or had started flowing in, and there had been some level of construction, they had crane operators being able to access the affected areas and be able to dig through the rubble. That's when we had a little bit of clarity on the issue.
Even with that, you know, people were like, okay, so we had not found him, why the report? Look,
in the midst of the chaos.
And even apart from that, look, sometimes you just want to be hopeful. You know,
in the midst of the chaos.
The way people were looking, I mean, if you saw any person with like dread or something like that, you know, over 44,000 people have died. So I mean, there was too much confusion.
And, so much chaos.
You know, so.
And I always say this, look, I always use Ghana. I try to break it down as much as I can. Look at all the challenges that we face when we try to move logistics from Accra to, say, Wa. Now, multiply it times 3. In a country that just got hit by 2 earthquakes, that one measures 7.8. I mean,
your roads are broken up. Your roads are
another measure 7.4. So how are you going
to? And we saw the whole community came to nuts.
You get it. So how are you going to transport cranes there? How are you going to transport food, water, shelter? So in the early days, it was just chaos. It was just chaos. It was later that things died down a little bit and there was clarity. And you can't blame anyone. There's nothing about finger pointing. It was just utter chaos because an earthquake of this magnitude.
At this point, we have bigger issues.
An earthquake of this magnitude will always bring such issues. And
look,
it is.
I woke up this morning and I was like, hey, you know, even seeing and confirming the thing, we are still trying to find ways and means to not accept it. You know, can't there be a miracle at this point?
I spoke with Emmanuel Clotte. He was part of the 2013 AFCON team. It was Saturday after the news broke. The news broke in the morning. I called him around 4, and the guy couldn't even speak up. It was so difficult to hear what he was saying, and the little I was able to hear, he was saying that I still don't believe it. Until I see his body.
I will not believe
with
it.
my very own eyes. I still won't believe it. And so, it is depressing. It is a very sad
We can just
very
keep
sad
his
situation.
family in our prayers and God bless his
That's
soul.
what we need to do.
A soldier
Keep his
has
family
fallen,
in
a
prayers.
true black star. But what can we do?
Message to our folks. Help out. Help folks who are in need. You are privileged to be in that position. Help folks who are in need. However you can, with whatever means you can, help folks who are in need. That is what Atsu lived for. And that's what he would wish his friends, his teammates, his family would do. So let's carry his legacy on, and let him live on through his philanthropy.
Live for others.